sometimes Australians say one thing and do another. Australia has its own prison islands, on Manus, on Nauru, on Christmas Island, and in many other places. And unlike the convicts who are brought here, these people have not committed any crime, petty or otherwise. We are here today to demand the closure of Manus and Nauru detention centres. The awful conditions that exist within these centres. This is the centres, Manus Island, where Razor Variety was bashed to death by the security staff that we paid to protect him. We demand that these centres be shut down immediately. Detaining people without charge or trial is an act of abuse. Nauru itself, in particular, is not safe. We have opposed detention because vulnerable people, in particular women and children, suffer sexual abuse. We have all seen the case of the 23-year-old Somali refugee who has been raped and is now pregnant. Every single day when we walk in public and we meet other people, other members of our society who we do not know, who are strangers to us, we do not know who they are, but we do not fear that. In every human population, there are people who do bad things. That includes in Australian society. That does not justify, on the basis of that tiny minority, detaining indefinitely every single citizen just in case. The idea that asylum seekers, so-called boat people, are a threat to us is a lie, and we must reject it.
Bill Talk from Bill Chilton, who's a representative of Unionists for Refugees.
What a wonderful thing it is to see banners and placards from the NTU, the CPSU, CSA, the ASU, the State School Teachers Union, and I know there's members of the HSU here as well, but they forgot their flags. And I really apologise if I've missed any other union members out. But please, if you are a union member, make sure you sign up with us before the day's out, because I think Unionists for Refugees is one of the ways that we're going to knock back the likes of Wilson and Transfield in their complicity in what is a vicious crime against humanity. The stories about the brutality and neglect of Wilson guards on Nauru and on Manus. I should point out that Wilson are actually contracted by Transfield to provide security services on Manus and Nauru, and I think that's very interesting. You've got two rather dubious corporations with their hand in each other's pockets, which kind of shows the labyrinthine, filthy network that goes throughout this thing. I read a story recently that Wilson guards were accused of goading refugees into verbally responding to them, and then they'd be beaten up basically by Wilson guards. That's part of the problem. Also, I've heard on Manus that when locals threatened refugees, the Wilson guards weren't there to protect them. So there was no duty of care there either, which in itself is also a terrible failing on the part of Wilson. Because if you work for Wilson, you're also likely to feel all the compassion that that company is capable of, which is about zero. There was a Wilson employee on Nauru who suffered sexual assault by two Transfield guards. What was the response of the corporate runners of this camp? Was to put those two Transfield accused on a plane and ship them out the very next day. So far I haven't heard that any charges have been laid, or even that an investigation's ongoing, or if those Transfield guards have been shipped back to Papua New Guinea to answer their crimes. I don't think they have. This is part of the problem. Incidentally, this Wilson guard who made the accusations about sexual harassment said this: "Things over there are out of control. The culture is horrendous, and that comes right from the top. There's a real problem with things being swept under the carpet, complaints from workers being ignored, and issues that should be fixed left to deteriorate." That's from a Wilson guard. So that's not from, as we're described, sort of bleeding heart liberal do-gooders. That's not from a liberal heart bleeding do-gooder. That's from a Wilson guard who saw the real reality of what it is to work for Wilson in one of these places. Not only is abuse taking place of the detainees kept there, but basically workers are in a toxic work environment. There should be no guards, there should be no razor wire around people who are doing nothing more than exerting their human right to seek asylum. This is not an appropriate way to deal with things. United Voice have found that 88% of Wilson workers fear that they would be sacked if they spoke out. Well, of course none of the accusations are going to be found to be true if you're actually threatening your workers with the sack. 88% of people feel threatened, and that's huge.
Shame!
Transfield, Wilson's ultimate boss, if you like, because Wilson are contracted to Transfield, say that all they're doing is filling a service. Transfield described themselves, wait, I'll give you the exact quote from the esteemed Diane Smith-Gander. She says, they're just an essential services provider. I don't think this is an essential service, Diane. I think that it's a useless service and an abusive service, and one that should be brought to an end. Money for healthcare, schools and pensions, not for refugee detention. Money for healthcare, schools and pensions, not for refugee detention. Money for hospitals, schools and pensions, not for refugee detention. Not for profit, Wilson, come off it. Refugees are not for profit, Wilson, come off it. Refugees are not for profit.
We're here to talk about the evil of deportation, or involuntary removals in government speak. The Consulate General of Malaysia has been chosen as our stops. The Malaysian government is actually the sole owner of Malaysian Airlines, one of many airlines used by the Australian government to carry vulnerable human beings back to persecution and possible death. Malaysian Airlines has been the carrier of choice for Morrison and Dutton to return several of our friends to Afghanistan, despite a resurgence in Taliban activity, not only in the outlying regions but in the capital, Kabul. Our young friend Alan was forcibly returned to Kabul the day after suicide bombers attacked just outside the airport.
Shame! Shame!
He was accompanied by 5 officers, 2 from Border Force, 3 from Serco. And a total waste of money. Since his return, 2 of his friends were killed during a Taliban attack on the road from his village. Alan is trapped in Kabul, unable to return to his village to see his mum, who lost her 2 younger sons while Alan was in detention in Australia. He is young, he is alone, and he is scared. And the Australian government did this, knowing full well the outcome, and they will continue to return people to active war zones unless enough voices show them that this is not an electorally viable activity. Bombs can be exploding, travel warnings for Australians can be set at don't for any reason go to their level, and still Australia sends people back to the country they fled. My friend Pradeepan's move will be more stressful. More than stressful. It could be a move where the outcome is death.
So you've heard now about some of the reports of abuse and violence, widespread ill treatment of refugees from the guards employed by Transfield Services, who employ more than 19,000 people across 20 industries and 10 countries, and are also contracted with corporations such as Serco and Wilson Security. For the past year, there has been an $8,000 visa application fee for journalists to enter Nauru. However, during last week, the media were informed that no applications would be approved. Employees of companies like Serco and Wilson have been accused of rape, assault and torture. However, as you've heard, the government has flown back many accused perpetrators to the Australian mainland before standing trial, while the victims remain in detention centres without access to proper medical care.
Shame!
The government and companies such as Transfield deny any allegations which give them a bad name. But if they have nothing to hide, why are they subverting justice and preventing the media from accessing the truth of what happens in the facilities they are responsible for?
Australian detention centres have been likened to Guantanamo Bay, and
and the private companies such as Transfield who profit from the management of these centres.